Welcome back, everyone. We're going to pick up right where we left off from the last episode. We're going to continue working on our new section back here. Well, before we get started, please take a moment and subscribe to the channel. All right, well, like always, we have a lot to do, so let's get to it. Okay, in the last episode, you saw me paint this a gray using paint from a gallon that I got at Home Depot, and it was basically slate gray. I then did a wash, quite a bit of paint and just a little bit of water, and did a wash over it so that some of the gray shows through a little bit. I then, on the edge, using kind of a wash, thinning it with the water, neutral gray. And again, that's just on the edge. Now what we're going to do is we're going to paint a safety yellow stripe right on the edge. So the first thing we're going to do is, this is regular masking tape, and I want the yellow to be this thick. So first we'll lay down this masking tape. Then right next to it, I'll go with blue painter's tape and put a wide strip right next to this. And then we'll peel this back off so that we can paint. Okay, so we've got bright yellow, and this is light rust. Now we have a sponge. Now I'm not doing it solid. I'm leaving some of that concrete color coming through because I want it to look like it's chipped. Now we're going to use winter soil. It's a pigment. Next, we're going to start on our brick structure. And as you can see, it's a kit from Walthers. So I had to cut down some of the walls, just a couple of them. Okay, the next thing we're going to do with these is spray paint them. Then we're going to take all of our doors and windows, and we're going to spray paint those. Then after these are primed, they'll get a like an olive green color painted over all of these parts. And after our walls are painted, we'll come in with a sponge and do some different colored browns to represent different colored bricks. Then we'll spray a dull coat over all the walls and let it dry really good. Probably let it dry overnight. Then we'll come back with a joint compound, thinned down with water, and smear it into all of the mortar joints. Okay, now we're going to be using light avocado. Okay, the green is all done. Now we'll move on to the brick wall. You'll notice I didn't paint these because we won't be using those, at least not on this build. Now we're going to move on to the brick walls, and I'm using 3 colors. Burnt sienna, which is very close to the color that's on here. Terracotta, and tangerine, and a sponge. Let's start with terracotta. Let's put some burnt sienna on here too. That way we can kind of blend it. We're going very, very light. We don't want to press hard. We don't want it to be thick because we don't want it to go into the cracks where all the brick mortar is going to go. Now at first it's going to look real splotchy. It's not going to look good. It's going to take multiple layers to build up the color that we want. Now we're going to use tangerine. Now we're going to use brick red. Okay, now I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. I may take the hair dryer and blow dry it. Make sure it's dry really good. Then I'm going to spray a dull coat over it. Let me grab the can quick. So here is the dull coat. It's Testers. So again, I'll let this dry good and then spray this over it and then let it sit and dry overnight. And then we'll come back tomorrow and put joint compound on here for the brick mortar. All right, well, it's the next day and the dull coat is completely dry. So now we're going to take these and we're going to use lightweight spackle. And we're going to be adding some water to it and brushing it on so that it just goes in the cracks. So I'm going to scoop some of this spackle and put it in this container, and then I'll add some water to it. I may even add a light gray paint to color it so it's not so white. So here's my mixture. You can see it's pretty thick. Now we'll just brush that on. Make sure that you get quite a bit in the corners. So now with a paper towel, we're just going to wipe that off. Don't press too hard because you don't want to wipe all of it off. Now with clean water and a clean brush, we'll lightly wash over it. Again, don't press too hard. You want the cracks. So I've been brushing on some pastels. Someone sent me these, so I don't know where they're from, what they're called. I really like them. They're a fine powder, and so I'm just brushing it on. Before I put the black construction paper on the back of this, I'm going to paint some windows to make it look like they were repaired, and I'm using antique gold. Next, I'm painting all the window sills gray, and I'm using slate gray. So first I paint the face of it. Then I go back and paint the top side. Okay, so here's where we're at so far. I'm making everything the same height. So those buildings are all the same exact height. And let me show you what I've done. So I've added black construction paper behind the walls. And then added cardboard. So that puts us at the correct height, and then we'll paint these to look like concrete, and I'll probably do a brownish gray like I did on these buildings right here. So I need to cut a long piece of cardboard that goes behind these, and then cut more styrofoam. So let's do that quick and get that part done, and we'll also paint the styrofoam. Well, here's the progress that I've made so far. Getting the inside wall done. Next, I'll have to take this over to my workbench and paint it. As you can see, I just cut this out of pink styrofoam. I then used skewer sticks and cut them maybe an inch, inch and a half long. Carved one end so it was really sharp, and the other end was already sharp, and then just stuck those through. First put on some liquid nails, and then stuck those skewers in there for a nice strong connection. Let me quick show you what this is going to look like. And as you can see, I can still get my arm back in there pretty far if I need to either clean track or reach a car that gets stuck. So while we're waiting for our liquid nails to dry, we're going to work on making some of these girders. These are going to go along the inside here. And then same on this side. And then we'll have some type of beam that runs across. Now I don't want to have to buy a bunch of these. So I'm going to draw these in the computer and then cut them out on my laser. It is so exciting to finally have this up and running. After we get these put together, we have the front and back, and then these will go in between on the sides. I have some really cool detail parts, and they are from Focus. And there's the web address. These right here. That'll go on both sides on the bottom. And then we're going to put some pipes going up the wall. So this takes regular drinking straws, and then you can just connect all the pieces. And then we may have some bigger pipes coming down. And let's see, maybe we'll use... We could put one at the top like that, and then one at the bottom with the straw going in between them. So we have a lot of fun things that we can use here. And again, that is focus. All right, well, this is all just sitting there, but I'm so excited. I just wanted to share this with you. I love the way this is looking. Now, I made a mistake and I made those all a little too tall, probably 1/4 of an inch too tall. So I need to cut those all down. But other than that, man, I just love the way this is looking. And all of these will be over on this side too. All right, well, let's take these back over to the bench and we'll put some weathering and some rust on them. So I sprayed both sides with a reddish brown primer. Again, both sides. I then took a teal color and sprayed just one side. Then I simply cut the pieces out and glued them together. And the pieces on the bottom, again, are these. From I wanted to mention that I added all of the rust using a sponge and rust colors from Ammo. So I just cut out sheets of plywood on my laser cutter and I used laser board. Now we're going to paint them using iced coffee. Now we'll use Farm Dark Earth and do a little bit of weathering around the edge. Now we'll take a black pen and do nail holes. All right, well, this is what it looks like so far. We still have a lot to do, so we'll need to eventually remove all this and ballast our track through here. And really before that, we need to glue down our styrofoam, then ballast. And there'll be dirt and trash, and same up here. I'll have newspapers and barrels and just a lot of trash sitting around. Now over here you'll see I cut a notch because there's a road, I think it starts maybe here, curves and goes uphill. There's a bridge that'll go over the tracks and continues going uphill up to this level here. And of course, all this needs to get painted to look like concrete. And we'll have pipes and wires, probably some more billboard signs. All right, well, that's all we have for today's video. We sure got a lot accomplished, though. I am so thrilled to have the laser cutter finally up and running. I will have news very soon on kits that will be coming out. There's still a lot of work to do as far as the final designs, setting up a website, but we are very close. So stay tuned for news on that. All right, well, like always, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. And a big thank you to all of my Patreons. You guys are the best. I appreciate you so much. All right, well, hey, take a moment and subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to become a Patreon, please visit patreon.com/Jason Jensen Trains. All right, well, until next time, stay motivated and happy modeling, everyone.